Hi guys, this is Squirrel Sniper 100 and I'm here with me, Tank, and we're here to do a review for you today on the SWFA SS 10x42MQ. It's produced by SWFA over in Red Oak, Texas, and it's made by Tasco, shipped over here, and they're really good quality scopes for a budget conscious person. So here we go. Alright, so here's the scope. We have a non-locking adjustable ocular eyepiece to adjust the reticle to make it as sharp as possible to your eyes. I do and I don't like it. It's pretty solid and pretty stiff, which is a good thing, but it doesn't lock in place, so it still can move. Now moving forward, we have the rear focus, and you don't see this on many scopes, but since it's a fixed power, you can do it. And it replaces the power ring like you see on most scopes, and so instead of having a parallax adjustment on the side or on the objective, you have it on the rear to where your power ring would be. And it works really well. It goes down from 10 meters all the way to infinity, and the ranging is actually pretty good. The one thing I did not like about it is it has no knurling or no rubber ring around it, so it can be kind of hard to grasp onto, especially if you're wearing gloves or it's rainy and your hands are slippery or it's cold and you don't get a good grip. But overall, it works really well. It eliminates the parallax when you adjust it to where it needs to be, and it's really solid. The turrets both adjust in 10th mil increments. The elevation turret has two sets of numbers, as you can see. It has a bottom row and then it has the top row. The bottom row is for first rotation up, and the second row is for second rotation up. So if I wanted to dial up 7.2 mils on my elevation, which is actually my come up for my specific load and stuff out of my Benjamin Discovery, all I have to do is come up one rotation. That's 5 mils, and then I can just count on the second numbers on the second row, and then once I see a 7, I know I'm at 7 mils, and then just come 2 more clicks up, and now I'm at 100 yards. It makes it a lot faster to dial up and dial back down. The reticle is very well made. It's very well designed. It has subtensions where they need to be, and it doesn't go too fine all along the reticle. The main part of the reticle is just a 1/2 mil reticle, and instead of having dots, you have hollowed out diamonds, which makes range estimating and seeing where the target's positioned in your reticle a lot easier. It makes reading and range estimating just a whole lot easier. And on the very end mills, you got 0.25 mil subtensions, which makes range estimating smaller targets even easier. And on the bottom half of the crosshair, for adjusting for elevation, you have 10 mils rather than 5 mils, which makes it where you can hold it over a lot farther, and just overall better designed than some other reticles. The one shortcoming is it's so fine that without illumination it can be hard to see at dawn and dusk, but overall it's pretty easy to see on most targets, and it helps you take a very precise shot with how fine the reticle is. Alright guys, now I'm going to do a tracking test on this scope, make sure that the reticle and the turrets are matching up perfectly. What I got is downrange at 20 yards is a small Caldwell square sticker, and I'm going to be using that as my aiming point throughout all the shots. I'm not going to adjust my aiming point at all, but what I am going to do is I'm going to adjust my turrets. I'm going to adjust my elevation turret 5 mils up, take a shot aiming at the orange sticker, then adjust my windage turret 5 mils to the right, aiming at the orange dot, take another shot. Then I'm going to adjust my elevation turret back down to 0, 5 mils down, take another shot, and then adjust my windage turret 5 mils to the left, and take another shot, and we're just going to see how well the tracking is. Alright, now we're going to do a return to zero test. What I'm going to do is take one shot at that same sticker and then dial up as far as I can on elevation and then come straight back down and see if my zero returns perfectly. Alright. Alright, now let's just go over final summary, what I liked and what I didn't like about the scope. So let's go over what I liked. What I liked is the turrets. The turrets are very positive. There's no slack, no take up in it, no creep or anything. They're very solid clicks, very audible too. I really liked them. The next thing I really liked was the rear focus. It's very smooth and it's very solid on both ends. There's no mush in it. And it doesn't have any take up in it where you have to pull a little bit and then it starts moving and then starts focusing, and it's parallax free 100%. Another thing I liked about it was the reticle. The reticle is very nice. The subtensions are where they need to be. Most of it's 5th mil subtensions, but some parts of it goes finer on the very last mils. Where there's the diamonds on the very ends, the 5th mils, there's actually 0.2 mil subtension. So if you want to get really fine range estimation, it's good for that, and it works very well. The things I didn't like were how there's no knurling, no rubberized finish on the rear focus. So like I said earlier, it makes it kind of slippery. It's not very user friendly in the gripping area. And another thing I didn't really like was the rear focus and how it doesn't lock in place. So it can shift upon time and it can move around a little bit. But overall, those are minor details I did not like. Now, just to show you the tracking was very good. Now this gun is a pretty cheap PCP. I haven't done any accuracy mods to it, so some of this could have been the gun, some of this could have been me too. So with a more accurate air gun or firearm, you're going to see better results. Now, my aiming point was right here. We were having a very strong 10 to 15 mile an hour left to right full value wind today. So my first shot on the tracking test was a little to the right, which is to be expected at 20 yards. Then I dialed up 5 mils and hit just under my 5 mil mark. Then I dialed to the left, or to the right 5 mils, and I hit right on the right far mil on the reticle. And I hit perfectly on the 5th mil. See how this one's a little higher than this one? So it could have been me, it could have been the pellet, whatever. And then I dialed back down 0.5 mils, same thing with this one, perfect. Then dialed back to the left, same thing, 0, perfect. Then I did a tracking test, or return to zero test as I should say, and I dialed up, I took my first shot and I hit right here, then I dialed up about a little over 15 mils. I dialed up 16 mils of adjustment, which is as high as I could go. Then I went back down to my 20 yard zero and I hit right here. Now I will tell you this, it was me not refilling the gun that did this. My gun's pretty pressure sensitive, and as soon as I take my first 5 to 6 shots, and this has always been the case with this gun, I start dropping a little bit and I have to hold over a little more. So that was more of me just not taking the time to refill it. But if I was to fill this back up to 2000 PSI, you would have seen that shot right in that same area. So overall, tracking's perfect and it's going to get the job done. Off camera, I dialed up 3.5 mils using my ballistic calculator and using not fine tuning it at all. And I said dial up 3.5 mils for 70 yards, and I center punched the seal target. So tracking's perfect. It goes back to 0 perfectly, and I'd feel confident out in the woods hunting game from 20 out to 100 yards with this scope and this gun setup, and returning it back to 0 after dialing up, say, for a 70 yard shot, 80 yard shot, and it'd be back on at 20. So overall, I'm very pleased with the scope. It's very solid. It's 18.7 ounces, and that's really heavy for a single power, fixed power, 30 millimeter tube scope. It's very, very heavy, and also the clarity is very good. I'm not big on clarity. I mean, I like clarity, but turret tracking on scopes I use for long range shooting is my main priority, and the parallax adjustment. But clarity is also very good. It's easy to distinguish targets in color transmission, and color detail on stuff is very good too. So overall, I'm very pleased with the clarity. So that's it, and I hope you enjoyed the review. And if you liked the video, please comment, rate, subscribe, and have a good day.